There's a painting you've seen 1,000 times. It's been reproduced on everything from posters to coffee mugs. You probably think you know it. You don't. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper isn't just a religious painting. It's a mathematical puzzle, a geometric encryption, a message coded so precisely that it took researchers over 500 years to understand what he was actually saying. And when you see what he hid in plain sight, you'll never look at Renaissance art the same way again. Welcome back. Today we're decoding one of history's most analyzed masterpieces and revealing the sacred geometry, hidden numerology, and secret symbols that suggest Leonardo was part of something far bigger than the Catholic Church wanted you to know. Let's start with what we can see. Painted between 1495 and 1498 on the wall of a dining hall in Milan's Santa Maria delle Grazie monastery, The Last Supper depicts the moment Jesus announces to his 12 apostles, "One of you will betray me." It's the ultimate dramatic revelation, the nuclear bomb of biblical moments, and Leonardo chose to freeze it at the exact instant the words leave Christ's mouth. But here's where it gets interesting. Unlike every other Last Supper painted before it, Leonardo does something radical. He seats all 13 figures on one side of the table facing outward, so none of them has their back to the viewer. The table is pushed almost flush against the front of the painting's pictorial surface. It's as if Leonardo is saying, "You're not just observing this scene, you're in the room." The apostles are arranged in 4 groups of 3. There are 4 sets of tapestries on each wall with 3 spaces between them. The central back wall has 3 open windows framed by 4 structural supports. Why groups of 3? Why 4 sets? Why is everything organized around these specific numbers? Because Leonardo wasn't just painting a meal. He was encoding mathematical theology. During the Renaissance, artists weren't just creative geniuses. They were philosophers, mathematicians, and students of what was called sacred geometry. This was the belief that certain mathematical ratios and geometric shapes reflected the divine order of the universe itself. The number 3 traditionally represents divinity, wholeness, the heavenly realm. It takes 3 sides to make a complete triangle, which is the minimum number of lines needed to create a closed geometric whole. These ideas became manifested in Christian catechism as the Trinity. But the number 4 represents the earthly realm, the 4 elements, the 4 seasons, the 4 directions, the material world. Now look at the painting again with this knowledge. 12 apostles, 3 times 4, 6 rows of coffers on the ceiling, 3 plus 3. Everything in the painting is built on the intersection of the divine number 3 and the earthly number 4. Leonardo is telling us that this moment, the Last Supper, is where heaven and earth collide. But it goes deeper. Jesus himself is painted within a perfect triangle. His head forms the apex, his shoulders the base. All the perspective lines in the room, the walls, the ceiling beams, the floor tiles converge at a single vanishing point directly behind Christ's head. Every single line in the entire composition leads your eye to him. It's not accidental. It's architectural genius combined with theological statement. Christ is literally the center point of the universe, the axis around which everything revolves. Now here's where it gets wild. In 2017, a researcher named Hayward Gladwin made a discovery that stunned art historians. He found that the radial vanishing point lines in the painting's perspective perfectly matched the corners of a dodecahedron, a 12-sided geometric solid that was considered one of the most sacred shapes in ancient philosophy. A dodecahedron, 12 sides, 12 apostles. This isn't a coincidence. The dodecahedron was one of the 5 Platonic solids, perfect 3-dimensional shapes that Greek philosophers believed represented the fundamental structure of reality. Plato himself associated the dodecahedron with the universe as a whole, the cosmos, the divine plan. Leonardo even painted Christ's shoulders, palms, and the center line beneath, creating a singular pentagonal face of the dodecahedron. He embedded a 3-dimensional sacred shape into a 2-dimensional painting, and he did it so subtly that no one noticed for 500 years. Why would he do this? Because Leonardo was obsessed with the idea that mathematics was the language of God, that geometry wasn't just human invention, it was divine revelation. By encoding this sacred shape into the Last Supper, He was saying, this moment isn't just history, it's cosmic law made visible. But wait, it gets stranger. In 2007, Italian musician Giovanni Maria Palla claimed he discovered something no one else had seen. Leonardo incorporated musical notes into the painting. If you draw horizontal lines across the tablecloth and the hands of the figures, they hit specific points, the bread, the hands, as if they were notes on a musical staff. When you play these notes on an organ, they create a melody, a haunting 40-second composition that sounds like a requiem. The painting plays music. Now, some scholars dismiss this as pattern-seeking, seeing meaning where there's only coincidence. But Leonardo was documented as being deeply interested in music theory and mathematical harmony. He studied under mathematicians. He collaborated with musicians. Is it really so impossible that he would hide a melody in the proportions of his most important painting? During the Renaissance, there was a concept called the music of the spheres, the Pythagorean idea that the planets, as they moved through space, created harmonious tones, that the universe itself was a symphony. If Leonardo believed this, and his notebooks suggest he did, then encoding music into the Last Supper would be the ultimate statement. This moment isn't just visual, it's audible. It resonates through reality itself. Now we enter controversial territory. Some researchers claim Leonardo embedded even more esoteric symbols into the painting, references to astrology, ancient Egyptian knowledge, and numerology that would have gotten him burned at the stake if the church had noticed. On the ceiling of the room, there are 36 coffered panels. Mathematically, if you add up all the numbers from 1 to 36, you get 666. The same number appears hidden in Leonardo's other work, the Mona Lisa, marked on the bottom left corner of the second version, held at Museo del Prado. Now, before you think this is some satanic conspiracy theory, understand what 666 meant in esoteric Renaissance circles. It wasn't the mark of the beast in the way modern pop culture interprets it. In symbolic language, 666 stood for the sun, the life-giving force, the light of knowledge. Leonardo wasn't worshipping the devil. He was referencing solar symbolism, a concept that predates Christianity and connects to ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Roman mystery traditions. Why would he do this? Because Leonardo moved in circles of scholars who believed Christianity was built on much older spiritual foundations, that Jesus' story was part of a universal pattern that appeared in cultures worldwide. Some researchers even claim that one of the apostles in the painting is pointing upward at the ceiling, directing our attention to these 36 panels as if saying, "Look here, this is the key." So what does all of this mean? Was Leonardo part of a secret society? Was he encoding forbidden knowledge into his paintings because he couldn't speak it aloud? The answer is probably yes. Leonardo lived in a world where the Catholic Church controlled not just spiritual life but intellectual life. Questioning doctrine could get you executed. Studying pagan philosophy was heresy. Exploring human anatomy, which Leonardo did obsessively, was considered sacrilege. And yet, Leonardo dissected corpses. He studied ancient texts banned by the Church. He associated with scholars who believed in Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, and mystical interpretations of Christianity that the Vatican considered dangerous. His notebooks are filled with mirror writing, text that can only be read in a reflection. Some say this was just his natural left-handed style. Others argue it was a deliberate encryption method to hide his true thoughts. The Last Supper may have been commissioned by the Church, but Leonardo transformed it into something far more subversive. A painting that appears orthodox on the surface but whispers ancient wisdom to those who know how to look. He embedded Pythagorean numerology, sacred Platonic geometry, musical harmony theory, solar symbolism, all hidden in the proportions, the arrangement, the mathematical structure of the composition. He built a masterpiece that says one thing to believers and another thing entirely to initiates. 500 years later, we're still decoding it. Researchers have written entire books trying to unlock the geometry of the Last Supper. Some believe there are layers we haven't even discovered yet. Others think Leonardo took secrets to his grave that will never recover. But here's what we know for certain. Leonardo da Vinci didn't just paint what he saw, he painted what he knew. And what he knew was dangerous. The Last Supper isn't just a religious icon, It's a mathematical manifesto, a geometric gospel, a message encoded in triangles, dodecahedrons, and divine ratios that says the universe is more mysterious, more interconnected, and more ancient than the church wants you to believe. And maybe, just maybe, Leonardo wanted future generations to crack the code, to look beyond the surface, to question what we've been told and seek the hidden truth. The question is, are you ready to see it? If you enjoyed this deep dive into hidden symbolism in art, hit that subscribe button. In my next video, we're exploring another Leonardo mystery, the controversial claim that the Mona Lisa contains a self-portrait of Leonardo himself hidden in the layers of paint. The rabbit hole goes deeper than you think. See you in the next one.